Are you done?
Hey there friends, how's it going? My name is Lightning8. So today we are going to be talking about Final Fantasy 16. Yes, I haven't been talking about Final Fantasy for a while. Final Fantasy 16 for that matter of fact. And I think I should really talk about my thoughts about this game. Where will it go? How dark can it get? And possibly, will this be the darkest Final Fantasy game in the series? Now, previously to this game, there was only one 18 rated game. Now, we saw this within the email they sent out with the Square Enix newsletter email that Final Fantasy 16 is 18 plus. I'm not too sure if they changed that, but I do think it's still the same. So, I just wanted to remind you guys of Final Fantasy Type 0. Type 0 was one of the darkest Final Fantasy games, possibly of all time. I think is the darkest, maybe until Final Fantasy 16 arrives. So the reason I say it's one of the darkest is because they basically put in these kids at war, and if somebody dies, you lose your memory of them. If you're associated with their character, you lose memories of them, and that's pretty dark. Many people died within the first few cutscenes of the game. Nations worth of people died in an instant, and worst of all, they even killed Chocobo within the first mission, I guess you could say, of the game. Well, first few missions, I believe. Well, you see it die within the first mission. It doesn't matter, but the point is, the game is dark. But will Final Fantasy 16 be that dark, or can it go darker? And I have to say, yes. This Final Fantasy is much more closer to the original Final Fantasy, where the main focus is the crystals of the world. The main character is of course Clive Rosefield, who is of course the person you play as. But his brother Joshua Rosefield, kind of spoilers, but it was in the first trailer. A lot of people are speculating that Joshua died, and in the time skip, Clive becomes this mercenary. Now, a lot of people take this to very, very underrated aspects, because if you look at games such as Days Gone, The Last of Us, it's someone losing a family member. Even Noctis, in a few instances, when he lost his father, he was never the same guy again to prior losing his dad. And I think with Clive, you could see how close he was to his brother, even in those opening shots of the game. And I feel that mentally, he doesn't know what to do. He has to feed this urge to kill stuff by becoming this sort of huntsman and bounty hunter. And when he does that, it enrages him and possibly awakens the other half of the phoenix within him. Because of course we know that that Joshua holds the phoenix power within him, the summon. I think it was called the Eidolons, I believe. But yeah, I believe Joshua is the main person who has the phoenix within him. But Clive himself could have the phoenix within him, but he needs that awakening. He needs that pain, that torture to awaken the other phoenix. So I believe there are two phoenixes, and not only that, we also see Clive can learn moves from the different icons, or Eidolons, or whatever they are, the summons basically. I feel that Clive is gonna go through so much, because at the end of the day, we don't know how he gets this power. Do people just give it to him inherently? Does he have to awaken it himself? Or does he have to take the life force out of them? And by that, he would have to murder them, kill them, and take their life, take their essence, their power and he uses it. So it gives that factor of mentality, because at the end of the day he lost his brother, and he also will have to gain the powers of the other holders of the summons to gain their powers. And you can see he uses like the different summons powers, but the problem is that he'll know how it felt to take the power away from these people. And it also affects their kingdoms, because I remember in the website it said that each kingdom has their own icon and holder of the summon. So by that turn he should already know that if he does destroy somebody to gain their power, he's leaving other kingdoms defenseless. And that can put a huge strain on his mentality, because at the beginning of this whole trailer we see how kind-hearted Clive is, but after the time skip you don't see him smile at all. Maybe he's reminiscing of the loss of Joshua, maybe he remembers all the pain he went through that day, or maybe he remembers how much of pain he left other people in. The fires that we see him stare at in the beginning of the trailer, what if that is the flames he remembers from the villages and the kingdoms he saw burn when he acquired the god's powers with Shiva, the Titan, whatever. I feel that this game will be dark. People possibly dying just trying to make a living for their families, because again there's no technology in this thing. It's pure Final Fantasy, pure like as in the original, where people would find it hard just to get day to day in inns where travelers are. And I feel with this it's gonna be hard, because there's an entire war going around and people losing their jobs, families, but they are forced to work even if they lost their families just to make a living. With Clive on the other hand, I feel he'll be one of the most not sentimental characters, but one of the most cherished characters after the time skip, because we'll see all the stuff he does, all the remorse he'll have. And in all honesty, I think that Clive might be one of the most troubled characters within Final Fantasy. But that's of course if he does feel remorse. He might even take pleasure in killing those holders of the summons because he lost his brother. Or maybe he's gaining power to attack the Ifrit god. It's really challenging to see his mentality, because we don't know if he's just completely broken down, if he's doing this for a purpose, or if he's just doing it because he wants to see the world burn. Now of course this all will be cleared up within more trailers, but that's just my theory. I think that Final Fantasy XVI is going to be one of the darkest games of Final Fantasy history. Clive is gonna go through a lot of trouble, and we're gonna see him go through it. We're gonna go on this journey with Clive of not only finding redemption, but finding out who he truly is. I feel this game is gonna be very, very dark. I feel that if Clive's story isn't dark enough, the world's story will be dark enough, because there's always wars between the different nations because of the crystals, and the dominants are there to protect the crystals. But if Clive takes the dominant's life, he takes their powers, and that also means that there's no one to protect the crystals, and it leads to other nations fighting for it and getting it, destroying it. The world crumbles because Clive wants to get stronger to avenge his brother. It's very dark if you think about it, because it's just basically one guy doing his own thing, only focusing on his goals, but at the same time not focusing on other people's possible outcomes. Now I know this is the point of Final Fantasy games, it's the point of video games in general, that oh, your main character has a story that's more important than everyone else's, but I feel this world is gonna be focusing on his actions a lot, the negative impacts of it, and he might feel the pain and the sorrow of losing and realizing how many people died due to his goal. But yeah, guys, I feel that might be a big point of the game, but I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. If you think this game will be one of the darkest, if not the darkest game in Final Fantasy. I don't think it's gonna be as dark as Type 0, but it's very close. I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below. Leave a like, helps me out a lot. Comment down in the comment section down below what you guys think. Share with friends, because sharing is caring. And most importantly, subscribe to become a fellow lightning bolt. Anyway, guys, that is it for this video. And as always, this is the Lightning H8. Blaze out.